Cowabunga dudes, I'm back with another art progress vlog. I've been drawing and painting a ton over the last few weeks. If you didn't see the last video, as a kid when I was 16 I went to art college for a year while I was an amateur mixed martial artist competing in MMA. I then chose to quit art college after 1 year and I went pro as an MMA fighter shortly after when I turned 18. And I've not picked up a pencil or a paintbrush ever since. I literally have not done any art for the last 17 years, up to about 3 months ago when I started drawing again, and I've just completely fallen in love with it. I had to retire years ago from MMA after developing a ton of injuries and a neurological health condition called functional neurological disorder, which causes me to have a ton of muscle pain and spasms all down my body, especially on my left side, and that prevents me from training and competing. But I recently picked up the pen and paintbrush again, and I've just fallen completely in love with it again. And it's been about 3 months now that I've been back. If you saw my last video, you saw the drawings and the painting that I did, and it came back to me pretty quickly, which I was really happy with. I've since joined New Masters Academy, NMA, an art instruction website, and I've also been doing the courses on what's Atelier, and I've been doing a lot of drawing and painting from those courses, and I've been making pretty good progress, I think. One thing that's very different about these websites is they tend to focus on a lot of the techniques of the old masters, the sort of old traditional way of painting and drawing. And with the drawing, that is very different because they get you to use charcoal pencil and they have you sharpen the pencil to a tip. That's so that you can use the side of the pencil to shade in, and you can cover a lot of surface area doing it this way, as opposed to drawing as people write, which most people draw that way in school. They just hold the pencil how they write, like this, and sort of scribble, like handwriting grip. But with this old masters kind of style, you hold the pencil like this, using an underhand or overhand grip, and you tend to draw with your elbow or with your shoulder, so you get big wide movements, as opposed to just drawing with your wrist as you would with the handwriting grip. And this makes big lines, big circles, big shapes, big strokes of shading really easy. And it was really tough at first because it's quite a big change to what I'm used to. It felt kind of like, because I'm right-handed, it felt like I was drawing with my left hand. But slowly got used to it, and I've been making pretty good progress, I think. I've also been using gouache paint. Gouache is kind of like a cross between acrylic and watercolor. It's very similar to watercolor. It's just a little more solid. It's less transparent, and you can use a little bit more water and it will look almost identical to watercolor. But if you use less water, it's more solid, more opaque they call it, and can pass as like acrylic as well. In the last video I showed you my first attempt at using gouache paint, and it was really tough. It was the painting of this girl here, and I struggled with it. That's not too bad because I've never been a painter. I've never really painted. Even in art college, I did very little painting. I can probably count on 2 hands how many paintings I did, less than 10. And I'm pretty happy with that. The problem was I didn't have any fine brushes, any thin brushes, and so everything was really thick and clumsy, and I struggled with the colours, especially on the face and the cheeks. Wrong colours, wrong values, and so I struggled there. But I had my second attempt at gouache paint, and I did this lovely painting right here of this guy, and I went black and white, so I didn't have to worry about the colours, and that's a big jump. Tons of progress, and I'm so happy with that. I followed along the video, learned the techniques with the gouache paint, and that's what I come up with. Took a lot of time, a lot of hours, because I'm very slow. I'm very new to this, so I'm going like a snail just to make sure I don't mess it up. And so I don't know, at least 5 hours, probably closer to 10, somewhere between 5 and 10 hours, and that's my second attempt. after that, so that was my first finished gouache painting, and I was over the moon with that, really happy. Now my second attempt, I think it was an improvement. I messed up the face a little bit. There's this painting here. Now I spent way more hours on this. It took a long time. I was taking my time. There was all of these. It took a long time to draw, first of all, the outline of pencil underneath, but all of these little intricate strands of hair, all this detail. I took my time with it, and it took forever. It took so long, because first I go to do the darkest bits. I go around the whole painting, working on the darkest, like the blackest blacks. Do those first, and then I slowly lighten the paint and go around the whole painting, doing that next shade lighter, exhaust that shade, and then I go a little bit whiter, a little bit lighter, and use that and go all the way around and exhaust that. Anyway, I finally get to the to this part here, which is like supposed to be one of the lightest areas on the cheeks, and I messed it up. And you can't erase it, obviously, like a drawing. And so I let it dry. I tried to go over it, but the thing about gouache paint is, when it gets wet, it reactivates again, and so it starts absorbing that paint and mixing with that lighter shade that I'm trying to go over the top with, and it just wouldn't lighten. And so as a whole, the painting looks pretty good. I'm happy with it, but this should have been a lot lighter, and it looks very clumsy and thick, and I'm not happy with that. But as a whole, that's pretty big progress, I think, from the previous painting. So I was really happy with that, and I am now working on the outline for the next one. So that's kind of like the underlayer, the outline, how the other two paintings started. That'll be coming up next. So in terms of painting, those are my first finished paintings in over 17 years. So I was annoyed with that last one, that it didn't come out as well as it should have, as it could have. But yeah, considering I've been back doing art for 3 months, that's my second finished painting. Not too bad. I'm happy with that. Now back to the charcoal drawing. So this is charcoal. It's a charcoal pencil. It's called a Conte pencil, and straighten you up there. Like I said, I felt this was really challenging to use. Now for this, I use newsprint paper. It's kind of like newspaper paper. And because I'm going to be doing so many of these drawings, it's just practice. It's like training. It's a lot like MMA. It's like a sport. It's just rep after rep after repetition, and just that's how you get better. And this is very cheap paper. It works well with the charcoal. That's why this is recommended. My first attempt was pretty bad. So I'm doing a lot of figure drawing, and I'm doing a lot of portrait drawing as well. With the figure drawing, it's going to be it's a lot of nude, almost nude photos, but really fancy pantsy, hoity-toity sort of stuff. This was my first attempt. It's just meant as an outline, and I messed this up because this space here was way too high. It's just way too much space between here and here, and so I gave it another go, and this was the second attempt. So the torsos are a lot shorter, although on this one I did kind of mess up the ankles. They're a bit too thick, but as a whole, much better, or well, much more the right proportions. Next drawing is my first attempt at doing an outline and taking it to full value, shading it right in. This is what I really like about these pencils, this charcoal Conte pencils. The contrast between the lightest lights and the darkest dark against each other look absolutely fantastic. I was really pleased with this. This is my first sort of finished drawing, and considering I haven't used these pencils before, and the few times I tried to use charcoal as a kid, I completely messed it up. It looked horrible. It looked like a young kid's crayon drawing. That's pretty good. Now this one was the first really long detailed drawing, and this took me about 10 hours, which you might laugh at, but my god, I'm still very slow, and this was a really difficult drawing. It's really detailed, and I just start with this is the opposite to the paint. You start with the lightest shade, you know, you outline it, you do the outline, which is called a lay-in, and then you start with the lights. You go around the whole drawing, do the lighter shade, and then you go a little bit darker, exhaust that, and so on. So that was pretty big progress. Again, happy with that. I mean, as long as I'm making progress, I'm extremely happy. That, considering it's just been 3 months, this is about 2 weeks ago. Good progress. My first finished drawing. Now, if I was using normal pencil, lead or graphite pencil, obviously it would be a lot better because you can go a lot more detailed. So, but for charcoal, I mean, this is fantastic for me, especially after just 3 months. Now, my first finished portrait using these charcoal pencils, right here, and again, I think this is a big improvement over the last one. So these are taking me a few days, 3 or 4 days, and this is a bit of a. I was following the instructions on the course, and so I would never think to do anything like this. But do the outline, you start shading it in, and with the beard, you took an eraser, especially needed eraser, and you start like here, start erasing out the shade to make these strands of hair, which I think is really cool. I messed up the background a little bit, but yeah, again, big progress. This is really fun model to draw because his beard is just absolutely massive. I've still got a little way to go till I look like that. I mean, this is just Santa Claus when he's on holiday in the summer. It looks crazy. So I was pleased with that. And then this one is my favourite drawing. I've been making really good progress over the last few months, but this one was the biggest jump in progress for me, and I'm really proud of this one. This model here, and I'll show on the screen the photo I have of this drawing as well. But I mean, this was just such big progress for me. It's so difficult to draw because I was taking my time with it, and like the right here, this drapery, this cloth was hanging off the table, was bloody hard to draw, and getting the light on her legs, her butt, and all her back was really difficult to get. What I like about these charcoal pencils is the contrast between the light that you see on her legs and her bum and the dark right next to it. It looks brilliant. I really like that. It loses a little bit at the top of her back because there's no dark background beside it, but like on top of her shoulders. But yeah, I mean that's really challenging. That's why I'm so proud of it, because it was so hard for me to do. In my opinion, that's the biggest progress. That's the best looking drawing I've done so far, and yeah, I'm really happy with that. Here, this part here, the drapery, where it's lighter, I did the old trick with the eraser. I erased that out just to make it look a little bit lighter, but man, same deal. Did the outline and the lighter shades. Then I got shade darker. Exhaust that. Go around the whole drawing with that shade, and go shade darker. Go around the whole drawing with that shade, and go exhaust that. With a lot of those drawings and paintings, I'm kind of when I finished them, they took so long, and I was staring at them. I was too close to them for so long, like literally and figuratively, that I was fed up. I wanted it to be done, and I start rushing toward the end, and I have to stop myself, because that's when you mess up a painting or a drawing. You start rushing it, and you just want it to be done and finished so you can have the final product. And so I had to come away from it, stop myself, and come back in an hour with a fresh set of eyes. And when I was done, I was kind of like, oh bloody hell, should have been better. And I think that's because I'm looking at the instructor of the courses, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't quite look that good. It doesn't look anywhere near as that good. And I got to remember I've been back doing it 3 months, and even when I was a kid, I only did like 1 year seriously of art, and so that's pretty damn good. I'm happy with that progress. That last drawing, that woman, the figure model, was mega progress. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing how much I can improve over the next month, the next year, next couple of years. I don't know how other people who make videos for YouTube feel, but doing outros, saying goodbye in a video is really weird. I always struggle. Seems a bit cheesy, you know. Give it the old cowabunga, see you in the next video. But yeah, it's just really weird and awkward. And so to save us from all that awkwardness, I'm just going to